success means different things to different people, and in society we've got sort of fixed ideas of success. It might mean, you know, getting your Lamborghini or getting your 12-bedroom house, but what does success look like to you personally?
This was a very interesting question because it's changed dramatically as through the years. So now it's very much being happy in my own skin, being able to live in the moment, not overthinking everything, trusting myself, very much about me rather than what I do. Whereas when I was younger, when I was in church, it was about being a leader, being someone who other people looked up to and followed. I used to play in the music team and lead people in worship. That was a huge thing, wanting to be a leader, wanting to be holy, all of these things. That was success if you had a position of leadership. It was also having a degree and having a good job. So Mary knows, and again, it's in the book, I didn't end up doing a degree. I had got a long-term illness, couldn't actually complete my education properly, didn't end up doing a degree. And my mum hasn't got over it. Mary knows all of this and has similar things with her mum. I'm 48, I've got my own business, I'm an Amazon bestseller, I've got all this amazing stuff. My mum still says, I can't believe you haven't got a degree. And I've never needed one, never needed one. And that used to be success. And for years I struggled with that because I didn't have one. Tried to do it on Open University, was too ill. And that meant I wasn't a success. And then having my own business became a huge thing. It was like, oh, I have to have my own business and then I'm my own boss. Now I'm just like, do you know what? I like myself and I'm at peace with myself and I'm learning to live in the moment, and that's success to me.
I think very similar. I think to me success is freedom.
Yes.
So if you can live the life of your dreams, whatever that is, so, you know, for example, if you could write all day, produce books, have that freedom, then that's success more than any material thing that anyone could give you.
Definitely.
I know you've got a long-term dream to retire, perhaps to sunnier climes.
To the Dordogne in France. So, because we have to, you know, have goals to get us to our end destination, I've been learning French since last June.
Wow.
I can't think of any now. My mind's gone blank. I'm like, don't ask me to say any French.
Can you order a beer? That's the main thing.
C'est un billet, s'il vous plaît.
Perfect.
So there you go.
Magnifique. Great. So, now, I know I listen to a lot of podcasts. I know you do. And they always tend to ask you what you'd say to your younger self. But I don't like to follow the crowd. So I'm going to flip that. And I'm going to ask you what your younger self would say, do you think, if they could see you now?
And again, this was what I've had to think about a lot. My younger self, bear in mind I was in the church and totally indoctrinated, would be horrified. Horrified by what I've become, because I'm too free and I'm too happy and I enjoy life too much and I don't go to church. And all of these things that are now my happiness, I'd be horrified by. But because it was younger me with my double life, I'd be going, hang on a minute, that's really cool. I really like how free she is and I really like that she's happy and I really like that she's not being controlled. I need to know why. Hang on a minute, how she got there? How can I get there? So my first impression would be horror, and then my second impression would be like, I want to be you. And so a very, like the double life, a very double-edged sword for that. But definitely I'd be horrified at first, which is quite scary.
I was going to say, that really picks up on your double life, doesn't
it?
That split opinion on what you think you'd feel like.
Definitely. I think I'd also be shocked because I now dye my hair, it's short, we weren't allowed to do stuff like that. I've got a tattoo, dun dun dun. All of it, there's lots of physical things that I think I'd be quite shocked by as well, because they're quite obviously not how we were brought up.
Wow, that's been really interesting. So, as I said, you're a published author, an Amazon bestseller, as you just said. So, you just want to tell us a bit about that book, because it's a really interesting concept that the book's based on.
It is. It's a book called Scene 2, and there's 15 of us, different women telling their stories, Mainly things of where they've overcome adversity, or they've had something that could have sent them on a totally different life path and they've made a decision and it's changed it. So all very inspirational. And in that I write a lot about when I was ill and the fact that I thought not having a degree was the end of the world, and it isn't, because I've never needed it. I do lots of training courses, by the way. I love learning new stuff. But I learn things that I need for work, so vocational things, rather than a degree that I may never have used. So yeah, the book's about that, and it's been a lovely experience working with the other women and a lady called Kat Massey who brought us all together, because we've again come from very different backgrounds, but we all wrote the chapters together and we all supported each other. I've got goosebumps. We all supported each other in a Facebook Messenger group, and we all had wobbles. I had wobbles, even though I'd been writing my life story. I had massive wobbles writing this and massive wobbles at the thought of being published, and we all supported each other. And they're a totally different tribe, and they're from all over the country. There's a lady in Ireland, one in Scotland, and we're like sisters now. It's really brought us close together with the shared experience. Quite fascinating.
Yeah, well, I think I've read most of the stories in there now, and some of them are jaw-dropping.
Yes.
With some of the things, and obviously I haven't been to your book launch, so yeah. I mean, what was it like that moment when you were handed that physical copy of that book in your hands?
I burst out crying. We've got a photograph of it, and everyone else's. They took a photo. Kat presented us with it. We had like a party to celebrate. And Kat presented each one with the book, and mine, I've got big red eyes and panda makeup, and that's fine, because it was real. Until you actually physically hold it, it didn't feel real, and it was amazing. But apparently, because I remember I put a thing on social media, what was your most amazing moment as a writer? Apparently every time you get a new book you feel the same. So I'm like, oh, that's okay then, because it was amazing. It was so exhilarating. It was like jumping off, doing a skydive. It was this huge, but even walking up, waiting to be handed it, it was massive. It was very emotional. It was lovely.
It's a wonderful experience because it's something that's been in the making for so long.
Yes.
When would you say your first dream was of that moment of holding a book that you'd written in your hand?
So not many people know this, when I was little I wanted to be a writer. That's what I wanted to do. And this is before, I'm 48, so this is before writing was as popular as it is now. There's loads of authors now. I always wanted to be a writer. That was what I wanted to do. And so I put it on the shelf, because you don't, no pun intended, I put it on the shelf and never thought I'd ever get to do it. And had loads of ideas. I'd write stories, I've been writing poetry, I write songs. So I have been a writer since I could write, but I didn't feel actually like one until I had an actual book, even though I was a writer because I wrote. It's, you write, you're a writer. But until I had it, it didn't feel real. So it has literally been a lifetime's ambition that I've wanted to do.
It is funny that that labelling, it's something that I was saying to my comedy guru, Jane, that there's this concept, I think it's in The Artist's Way with Julia Cameron, where she talks about believing mirrors. And that's someone who mirrors you back to yourself in the most powerful and strong and positive light that you can exist in. So the moment someone says to you, you're a writer, and you're like, oh yeah, I am, or you're a comedian, that everything changes in that moment. It's like a permission slip.
Definitely.
You didn't need the permission slip, but you've got it now.
Yes.
And then I think similar, you changed your Instagram to Matt the Templeman Writer, and then that in itself acts as a magnet.
Definitely.
To everything then suddenly starts to grow and grow, doesn't it, from that?
Yeah. And it's very scary. And thankfully, Mary gets me these amazing, so hilarious t-shirts with writer on. And I've got mugs that have published author and I'm a writer. And my imposter syndrome days, I wear them. Yeah. And I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, And I get my book and I'm like, hello. Excuse me, you've done this. Get over yourself. I've
actually got a book to prove it.
Yeah, and it's like, really? You still have it? But as I say, the lady who is literally, she's written so many books. She's on the telly, or her programmes are on the telly, and she still has it. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
That's okay then. That's okay.
Yeah. Well, I once heard someone say that in some ways imposter syndrome's good because you actually must feel that you're doing well because you feel like you're an imposter in how successful you're being. So if you flip it round that way, you're like, if you didn't feel like you were succeeding, you wouldn't feel like an imposter.
Yes, that makes sense.
So it's quite a different way of looking at it. So
definitely, and a positive way.
A positive way. Reframing. It's all
Definitely.
about reframing. So to sum up then, do you want to are we allowed to reveal the title of your book or is that secret till you launch it? It might change.
Yeah. Because I'm a menace for changing the things, as you know. So yeah.
Okay.
But it's certainly gonna be probably gonna be a one word because most memoirs are one word.
Right.
So no,
Top
I'll be
tips.
good.
Okay.
Top tips.
So have you got? I'm not pressuring you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got a timetable for publishing it?
Definitely, I'm starting. I've had all my beta reads back. I've had a couple of months off as a break, and this next month I'm going to be sending it. I'm going to finish it off, send it to the publishers, and then I think it takes like 3-4 months, so not long.
So
which is all very scary. This year,
you're not self-publishing; it's going to publishers.
It's indie publishers.
Indie publishers, right?
So it'll be available on Amazon.
Yeah.
So and Kindle, which although I love the hard copy, and that's amazing, the thought of being on Kindle is like, because Scene 2's on Kindle.
Yeah, I was going to
And
say,
I'm
where's that available?
It's on Kindle. So that's on Amazon.
Yep. You can download it on the Kindle.
You can download it on your Kindle. So yeah, that's very exciting because I read, I love reading. I read all the time. But I read loads on Kindle. So to actually see my book on Kindle blew me away. The physical copy, it was a different feeling. That was more tangible. But the Kindle copy was just, I'm on Kindle, I'm on Kindle.
A giddy moment.
Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant.